Oklahoma wheat that was planted in October and November should be reaching first hollow stem sometime in February and March. Josh Bouchong is an extension agronomy specialist in Enid with Oklahoma State University.
Coming out of winter, we've got plenty of soil moisture built up. We've been blessed with very many rains over the fall and winter, so a lot of guys are in pretty good shape. We did have some issues, especially those big rain events at the later part of our planting window, going through October into November. So we had some guys, especially trying to follow a summer crop where they didn't get those crops out in enough time to get it back to wheat. So we did have some fields stay open this winter, winter fallow. We did have some guys plant late. They were worried about it. Like I said, our stands have been pretty healthy. We've started to put on some tillers.
That late planted wheat was because of heavy rainfall last year. As a result, some grazing potential was lost.
The later planting, we didn't produce a lot. It's kind of slow growth. But that early planted wheat that they got going, established before those heavy rains came through, they have pretty ample forage out there. So for the most part, guys have been pretty pleased. Maybe on some of those later planting acres, they haven't been able to have as intensive grazing rate or pressure than they would like. Plenty of moisture in some areas, excessive moisture, so we had some hoof traffic that might have lost some tillers from stomping of the cows. Not too much uprooting. We did get pretty good root development, so sometimes we're worried about stalkers uprooting plants when they're grazing, but for the most part, been pretty pleased.
Bouchong says it appears that we had good vernalization of our planted wheat over the winter. That means the seedlings have developed and are putting out tillers.
Ideally, when we start scouting our wheat fields to determine when to pull the cattle off, we're looking at that first hollow growth stage. And that's when that growing point starts to elongate up the stem. And when it gets over a ½ inch, we know we're going to start losing grain yield potential with those stalkers out there. So ideally, we want to start looking at our wheat fields mid to late February. I know over the years it's kind of a moving target. A lot of it goes back to growing degree days, how much solar radiation we had that spring, how much moisture we had, how vigorous that crop's growing. But once another month here in about 3-4 weeks, mid-February, we really need to start looking at that. We will have some reports come out as the month progresses through late February into March and look at different varieties. Because there are different maturities that will hit first hollow stem earlier than others.
OSU agronomist Josh Bouchong in Enid, Oklahoma. I'm Don Atkinson reporting for the Oklahoma Wheat Commission and Oklahoma Genetics Incorporated.